Hey guys, today it's Tyler. I'm going to be unboxing the Thermaltake View 27. I've had my eyes on this case for quite a while, and it'll kind of be an unboxing, first impressions, and some general information, but you should subscribe and stay tuned for a review later. So, as I just said in the introduction, I have had my eye on this case for a little bit. I've been looking at it for the last solid 2 or 3 months now, I would say. Ever since I've been looking at bumping up my current computer case, which you can check out the review for that soon too. So just that comes along with this case by itself, there's of course the case. The IO port is a USB 3.01 or 3.0, and there's one of those. And there's a USB 2.0, and there's two of those, and then there's HD audio. Also, for expansion slots, there's the 8 in the back, and then this case actually allows for you to turn your graphics card vertically so that you can place it in there and have it be displayed in the front for the side panel. And there's something special about the side panel, too, that you'll see later. For motherboards, it supports mini ITX, micro ATX, and ATX. For now, we're going to be using a micro ATX board in there because that's all we have to put in there. But then we're going to be using an ATX case or an ATX motherboard later. For fans, it supports 3 front 120mm fans, 1 rear 120mm fan, and then something called a power cover fan, which I haven't done extensive research on, but I assume it has somewhere to be placed around the power supply. I'm not exactly sure about that, but we'll be sure to find out where that's located when we open the box up. And then for radiator support, there's 1 front 360mm radiator and then 1 back 120mm radiator for the first part. Or initially, when we first just transplant the case, we will not be using any radiators, but then maybe sometime around when Zen drops, we might be using radiators just for overclocking support. And then some other specifications that there's a CPU cooler height limitation of 155mm, and then VGA length for just general use, not the vertical, is 410mm. I don't specifically know if there's an extra limitation on how long your VGA card can be if you want to use it in vertical format. I would have to hazard a guess that there would be, because you wouldn't see the whole card after you have it so long that it moves out of the frame of the plexiglass door here, but alright, well, we're going to start unboxing it and take a look at what we've got. To come to think of it, I might need to stand up for this video. Alright, so what we're going to end up doing, I'm behind the box here now, but what we're going to end up doing is just tilting the box sideways like this so we can pull the contents out, make things a little bit easier on us. Alrighty, so finally, getting it out of the box was pretty hard there, but I don't think it should be. So then we've got these 2 styrofoam holders. Now I've seen one time where I've seen a case supported a little bit better than just with styrofoam, and now I've started to kind of prefer that. I believe the case came with like this foam kind of, I don't remember the case specifically, but it didn't come with styrofoam. It came with like a more plush foam, which I kind of liked, and I'd like to start seeing that introduced a little bit more here. That's just my opinion, I suppose. So along with the case itself, obviously it comes with a View 27, just a booklet here on support for CPU coolers, VGA, and stuff like that. Or not VGA, just graphics cards and such. So certain things that people will be interested in seeing. And then it comes in a variety of languages in case you're bilingual or whatever. Now, I think the reason that you guys are going to particularly like this case is its gull wing door. Now, Thermaltake is the first one that I've seen to develop this. I haven't seen it anywhere else, and I do a small amount of my time just looking at CPUs, or just at computer cases, but it comes with something called a gull wing door. Now, at the top here, it uses a kind of like a curve in the glass to give us some glass on the top as well. So if I turn the case right here, you can see the gull wing door a little bit better. And later I'll be taking that off to show you that more in detail, but I suppose something I should do just for all of our viewers that like removing the plastic, is I'll peel it off for you. Oh, it's so refreshing. It comes with knowing that you've probably spent close to $70 on this case, which isn't terrible, but I mean, a little bit more than you probably need to. So yeah, this is my first Thermaltake case. I have never bought a Thermaltake case before. I'm kind of interested in getting the P5 eventually. That's the one that's got a complete open chassis, and that's part of their P line. It's got, I think the P5 and the P3 are the ones with the open chassis, where it looks really glossy and stuff on the inside, which I think is going to be pretty cool if we ever do get one of those. Now, the next step is to remove the thumb screws so that I can explain to you the gull wing door a little bit better. Now, because the gull wing door does have the gull wing door does attach on the top, the thumb screws kind of rotate around. They're a pain to get off by hand. Huh. Well, as you sit here for these technical difficulties, I'm going to go get a screwdriver. Hey guys, I'm back. Got a screwdriver. Wasn't initially interpreting these thumb screws as being the hard to remove type, but you should be able to get them out with these. So the reason I'm going out of my way to kind of show you the gull wing door is that was one of my main reasons for buying this case. That, and I like Thermaltake as a company. I like how they kind of branch out into a lot of different things. I mean, they do PCIe cable or riser card cables. They do fans. They do just a variety of things. Their cases are just crazy. They're really thinking outside the box here. Some people tell me I'm not pretty funny, but I like to think differently. So hopefully with this last thumb screw, I'll be able to show you why it is that I decided to buy this case. We're going to have to wash our table mat after this. Alright, so it comes off just like that, and this is the door. This gull wing door, as you can see here, is kind of a two-side door, so taking it off and putting it back on is going to be a pain in the future, just for anybody else. If you're a type of person that likes to do constant work on your computer, I do not recommend getting this case. Getting it off is a little bit of a pain. It doesn't come off just vertically or just like shifting straight off. You kind of have to unscrew all the thumb screws like I just did, and then pick it up and pull it out of the socket like that off your computer. Let me peel the plastic off the front here as well. Now, one of our initial thoughts when we got this case was, what kind of glass is it? Because, well, I mean, you go through the trouble of making rotated glass here, and you're gonna end up having to pay a lot of money for rotated or for angled glass like that, because they have to go through the trouble of burning the glass and shifting it like that every single time they make one of these cases, which would just be insane. I mean, you'd be looking at a really hefty price for this. But like I said before, I actually just picked up this case for $70, and then there's a $10 mail-in rebate as well. So it's not terribly bad. Now, I would interpret it to be some sort of a plexiglass, I would say. It's hard to tell. It doesn't feel as hard as regular glass. But I certainly don't think it's regular glass because of the price that we paid for it. One thing I'd like to just kind of throw out there for my first impressions is that this side door, this gull wing door, kind of shifts. It doesn't seem to be made of the best quality material. I mean, it's shifting back and forth like I'm doing right now is a little unnerving, but it's not something you're going to be expecting to serve food on. So I mean, that's not really a concern of mine. It's just would have been nice to have a little bit of a more high quality setup, but maybe what we'll see from Thermaltake sometime soon is just a reinitialization of this case, something for them to bring it back out and have it new, like the P will line up with the P3 and the P5, where they bring it back out and it's a newer case line, but it's still of a case line where it's newer and they've refocused some things. But other than that, let's set the gull wing door to the side so I can show you the internals. So, one of my big things about a case is that it has to have a basement. Without a basement, you're stuck trying to position cables everywhere. It doesn't look good, doesn't feel good, and even with this gull wing door, I mean, if you have cables positioned haphazardly all over the place, you're going to regret getting the gull wing door because you're just going to have that constant sight of cables running all over the place. That's why I really prefer having a basement. The Zonda B is a case that I've had for a little bit now. You only pay $35 for it, so you get what you pay for. But it does not have a basement. You end up having to run cables all over the place. There's barely any room in the back to site cables, and you can check that review out later. We'll have that posted for you. But what I'd like to point out again is just the fact that in the rear here, there's availability for you to position your graphics card vertically like this. Now, keep in mind, if you prefer to do that, you're going to need a PCIe 16x speed riser card cable, preferably at 3.0 speed, because otherwise you're going to view degradation and such like that, and you're going to end up regretting mounting your graphics card this way. I've seen some interesting theories about heat dissipation, that mounting your graphics card vertically, you end up running into problems because the fans are blowing directly against the gull wing door here, and you're not dissipating heat like you would be if you had your graphics card mounted horizontally on the motherboard where it normally would be. And so that's just something to keep in mind when you end up buying a case like this, or even vertically mounting your graphics card in any case. It's just that you're going to probably run into a little bit of a heat difference by mounting your graphics card here. Not to mention that most PCIe cables are ribbon cables, and they tend to block heat a little bit more than just a simple graphics card placement. That's why if you remember back to the PETA and SATA, PETA used to be mounted with a ribbon cable, and they would raise heat temperature because you'd have less room to move air around in your case, because the giant ribbon cables would be a pain. But then when you involve the SATA cables start allowing you to move more heat throughout your case. And if you did, it looks like if you did use a PCIe cable, you wouldn't have any, at least it doesn't seem like you wouldn't have any place to properly, like you wouldn't be able to run it into the basement and then back up to the graphics card. It wouldn't work that way. So you'd be stuck having some sort of a heat dissipation problem. I'm going to do a complete 180 with this case here, just to show you guys the front. The front here is pretty interesting, I would think. The power button's on the side, and then there is a reset button as well. And then also on the front is 3 USB ports, 1 at 3.0 speed and 2 at 2.0 speed. And then there's microphone and sound. That seems to be all for the front I/O. Now I'm going to place the case on its side here to show you kind of the internals. The case does come with a fan here, and it's mounted in the back. Now, if you remember what I said before, that there are 3 front 120 millimeter fan placements and 1 in the back, and then 1 in the power cover, which we'll be sure to find soon. And then it looks like this might be one of their LED fans. It does look like it has a cycle for that. I was a bit confused when I initially saw that. The post on their website and in Newegg doesn't show that it has a LED fan in there. And if you look into specifications, it doesn't seem like it comes with an LED fan either. It says that it comes with a fan, but I mean, an LED fan is pretty high quality to come with a case, because I mean, you can expect to pay somewhere around $20 for one of their LED fans, unless they're on sale, like we were able to achieve with some of our things. But that certainly added to the cost of what you're buying for the case. And just like you normally expect, there are a few the front panel stuff that you're going to have to plug into the panel in your motherboard. We're going to have some issues doing that later, because I don't think I have my manual that comes with my motherboard anymore, so we're just going to have to look at what I previously had. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to try and find the power cover fan connection. I don't exactly know what we would do to go about finding that. Maybe if I remove the screws from the side panel on the back, I'll be able to look at possibly finding that. This case is one of my favorites.
Is it not on the top?
No, it doesn't seem like it's got any fan connection on top because of the gull wing door here. But that was a good question. So by removing so that's the problem, is the gull wing door on the front kind of has to come out like I was expecting the back one to, where you kind of have to pull it a little bit and then pull it outwards towards yourself if you're facing that side. But the back one just comes out like a normal one would. Huh. So it looks like it might go on the bottom here.
I mean, that's standard, because you have to vent your power supply.
Right. I mean, there's the standard.
Unless there's one in the front here, but there isn't really.
No, you run into the 3. You're supposed to be able to mount 3 120 millimeter fans in the front. Now, it looks like you might run into an issue with that, unless no, I'm pretty sure you're going to run into an issue though with that, with the basement setup, how it is. Oh, I think I might have found it. I think it might be positioned here. It's on the top of the basement, and it's meant to, I suppose it's meant to push air up or take air out of the main chassis, but then mount and then make an inflow so that that's starting to push it into the basement, which just seems a little peculiar. And then maybe the fan of the power supply is meant to push that out towards the bottom. But we're going to look more into that for our review of this case. Thanks for sticking around for this quite longer video than what we're normally used to. I think I got through everything, but if I didn't, make sure to comment something in the bottom, and I'll make sure to go through it in the review. Otherwise, be sure to like and subscribe for our channel. You can dislike this video if you wanted to, but I thought I did a pretty good job going over the case. Also, in our description, there are our Patreon. The Patreon link is down there where you can give a monthly donation, and we're going to keep using that for quite some time. And then also in the description, there's our Amazon bookmark, which you can, or our Amazon affiliate link, which you can set as your bookmark. And we get a small kickback from purchases that you make through Amazon. And be sure to stick around for the review of this case line, and make sure to subscribe.